A very warm welcome to our home, the home of the team we all love. Welcome to Vicarage Road. Now, as we've said all season, football is nothing without you, the fans. It's been more than a year since these grandstands were full to witness the 3-0 victory over Liverpool on the 29th of February 2020. Now, the global pandemic has changed the lives of all of us, and there are some scars that may never heal. But the team that we all love have provided an escape during each and every match day, as well as a reason for hope that better times are on the horizon and that we will all be reunited back here at our stadium once more. The Championship season started on Friday the 11th of September here at Vicarage Road with just one purpose: to get back to the Premier League at the first time of asking. A season unlike any other in living memory has resulted in a return to the promised land and the greatest league in the world. Tonight, in a Hive Live special, we'll be looking back at the highlights of the season, and we'll be joined by some of the key players who have ensured that Premier League football will once more be played at this great stadium. Welcome to the end of season awards, and for one last time, welcome to Hive Live. Hello and welcome once more to a very special Hive Live programme. We are live for the next hour and a half, reviewing all of the highs and lows of the 2020-21 season. I'll be joined by a host of live guests throughout the show. We'll also be announcing the end of season awards, and we'll have two huge exclusives. We'll be hearing shortly from a man at the very top of the club. And then to close the show, no less than Sir Elton John will be speaking to you, the fans, ahead of our return back to the big time next season. This is the first time in many years that Elton has spoken about all things Watford FC, and we're incredibly proud that he chose Hive Live as the platform on which to do so. So a very good evening to you once more, and welcome along to Hive Live for the final time this season. It is great to have you with us on a very, very special night. Of course, that does mean we have some very special guests lined up for you. So without further ado, I will bring in my first guest. So he's one of only two men to have watched every single minute of Watford this season alongside John Marks as part of our commentary team on Hive Live. It's a very good evening to the former Watford striker once more, Tommy Mooney. Hello.
Good evening, Emma.
Nice to see you. I mean, I have to say I'm very pleased to see you, but I'm disappointed about this shirt-tie combo. I thought tonight might be the night it finally makes a return. The horizontal stripes, checkered pattern, just in case anyone wasn't aware of Tommy's fashion decisions in the past.
I'm expecting a little clip of it as well. I've been stitched up on many occasions.
No, we didn't actually have that up our sleeve tonight. Being the last show of the season, we thought we'd go easy on you. But a smart suit for a big occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought I'd go a little bit plainer. But no, great opportunity for the supporters to see, honour the success that the players have certainly thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, your job tonight, Tommy, is certainly to help us comb through the season, but not only that, I'm also hoping that you'll help me keep our next guest on the straight and narrow.
Good luck with that one.
Shall we say?
Good luck.
So, time to bring him in, if he hasn't introduced himself already. He's a lifelong Watford fan and our very own Mr. Showbiz, it has to be said. Definitely going to be bringing the fun to proceedings tonight, that's for sure. And what is a special night, it's a very warm Hive Live welcome to Andy Collins, hello.
Thanks
Nice to see you.
Lovely. First of all, don't adjust your sets. I really am this fat. It is lovely to be here and get dressed up. I haven't worn this suit since cool.
No, you're looking
so
very
it was
dapper.
good. I've got 7 months. That was a right result. Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
I mean, it's been an excellent season, has it? So
Brilliant season. Well,
what a luxury to be able to sit here and go over it.
For an hour and a half.
I know.
And not getting paid. What a result. But don't worry about that, because we may get hungry. I know we've not introduced you yet, but we'll get to you in a minute, right? So, I was in charge of catering. So,
Right.
I went to the petrol station, right? I got you a sandwich, because you like them. Ginsters, because that's what athletes eat, right? And I went to a specialised website for this, right? I had to get a few DVDs, but it was worth it, right? I've only got more money than a Watford 2-bedroom house. A Colin Caterpillar.
Oh my
Do you know how rare they are? They're, yeah.
You're destroying the set already.
a bit. Yes, I've got a bit of a caterpillar. Do you like caterpillar? Yeah. We're finished now. It's okay. So
Thank
yeah,
you,
so I
Collins.
bought that.
Thank you very much.
I bought some snacks.
I feel really bad that we've not got anything in return. But we did buy you and Robbo a whole box of biscuits last time, which I think we thought would last a few games. But actually you scoffed a lot, didn't you?
Yeah, but this will be gone in an hour and a half.
Okay.
So that's all right.
I think we'll have to ask the production team to get us a knife and fork for each of us. Oh, and it doesn't stop there. Percy Pigs as well.
I forgot I got them.
Andy, you can come again, providing the next hour or so is kept clean. Andy, last time you were with us, it was Christmas time.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fun and somewhat controversial from my memory.
Well, I'm not. You've got to be honest, don't you? You just got to be honest. That's the important thing.
I think there's a certain former Watford head coach who probably won't be sending you a Christmas card in the near future.
Evening number 13.
Listen, you have hosted the end of season wars for a number of seasons now. We can't be here in person with the fans, but that's not to say we're going to have an excellent night.
Oh, we're going to have a great night because we've got some real surprises for everybody watching.
Yes.
And it's going to be a great.
Me and Tommy as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a great
guest,
night.
I think, by the looks of it.
It's going to be a great night. And honestly, you're in for a real treat. The great thing as well is these people watching at home, they don't have to dress up like us. They're probably wearing pyjamas, probably naked. Who knows?
Right, on that note, I think we'll bring in my third guest. As you might have guessed already, there is someone else to the left of Andy. So, the person that's joining us is a first-team defender who, since joining the club in September last year, has captained Nigeria as they qualified for the African Cup of Nations. He's also been part of a record-breaking defensive unit. So, without further ado, let's bring in William Troost-Ekong. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah? Slightly nervous now with the guest on your right-hand side?
I don't know what's going to happen now, so I thought I came prepared.
We're the security, Will, so don't,
I know.
Don't get scared. We'll
And
sort him out.
I thought I did well dressing up, but now I feel very underdressed. So
No, not at all.
this is my usual Tuesday, appeal. So
And
that's
us.
normal.
This is every Tuesday.
Listen, one season down. What a season it's been. Hopefully many more to go. But how about that as your first campaign in a Watford shirt?
Yeah, that's been unbelievable, really. So exactly what I wished for when I came here and wanted to do. And really happy that I could be part of a team that actually did so well this year. And couldn't have gone any better, I don't think.
It's such a cliche to say it's a boyhood dream come true. But getting to the Premier League with Watford, it really is a dream come true for you, isn't it? It wasn't long ago that you were sat out there in the stands watching this Watford side in the Premier League. That's going to be you next season. Yeah, no, it's really exciting. And some way I also try to remember those moments of, trying to get here and appreciate the journey. But I know that the real work is actually going to start next season. So I'm really looking forward to that challenge. I'm just really happy. Yeah. Forget about that hard work now tonight. We're here just to have fun. So this is a review of the season, but we are also incorporating the awards into proceedings tonight. So to kick off, Tommy, Andy and Will, I want you to tell us about your experiences of awards night. And I don't mean, when I won Championship Player of the Season or whatever it is. I'm talking about, or BAFTA in your case maybe, Andy. I'm talking about the awards you didn't win, that still irk you now. Tommy, we'll come to you first.
Well, I certainly should have had a bronze medallion life-saving award, but the lady at the side of the pool said that my pyjamas weren't blown up correctly. So I had to do it 3 more times. I got it in the end. Right, but that still gets you now, doesn't it? Yeah, I think it's an absolute joke. For you, Andy?
Well, you're going to be shocked at this. Kabasele's 1978 Knobbly Lees competition. I was knocked out. Can you just look at them? Now, you've probably seen a few calves like that in your
Before the
time, yeah?
watershed, Andy, I should say.
Surprising, yeah.
We've had a very bad summer, that's all I'll say. Yeah, so I was gutted about that. Canberra Sands.
For you, Will?
I think you really put me on the spot here. Yeah, there's so many I've missed out on. But yeah, there's none that really stick to my memory now. But I'll be gutted if I don't win anything today. So hopefully. Oh. No, I'm joking.
Oh, I was going to say that's a bit awkward. No. You've got the greatest prize of all, Premier League football next year.
Yeah. And you've won the best calves competition. So well done.
I'll take that home.
Hold on. Just leaving me out of it.
Awkward.
Right, let's get things started then by hearing from the very top of the club, as we've mentioned already. So time now to hear from our club chairman and CEO, Scott Duxbury. He spoke exclusively to Hive Live to give us his thoughts on what has been one of the most difficult years in the club's recent history. And he told us just how much he is looking forward to welcoming you, the fans, back to Vicarage Road to watch Premier League football next season.
The biggest challenge was financial, because I mean, relegation is always a very difficult obstacle to overcome with the loss of revenue. Put a pandemic into that with the fear factor. The loss of revenue through supporters not being here, and that just emptiness, to be honest. There were moments where you felt alone. The supporters are so powerful that they really help you through things. And even, it sounds really crazy, but even turning up to games without supporters there, you felt lonely at times. It's a really strange thing to actually try and put into words, but you felt alone. Trying to get through that with all the financial difficulties, with knowing that certain players, you only had one shot with them, that they wouldn't be here next year if we didn't get promoted, quite rightly, because they wanted to play at the highest level. It felt that we really had to do it this year, and we should do it, because I really believe that the squad that we put together was of a really high standard, and they should be at the top of the table pushing for promotion. So I think I would have felt regret had they not have achieved it. It goes to my favourite phrase, that if we're all together, we can achieve great success. I say it a lot, because I genuinely believe it. And this was the first time in 9 years, I think around about Christmas, there was this sense that the fans weren't with us, and they weren't with me and Gino. Listen, it's fine, it's not an ego thing, I get it, but we were all working so hard and so tirelessly, everybody at the club. It just felt strange that the fans were turning against us. And I understand why, because they shared the exact same expectation I had, that the team should be doing better. And it's not as if we weren't actually doing okay in the league. We were 4th, 5th, but there was just that feeling we weren't playing entertaining football. We weren't the Watford that we all know. And that's when we realised, a change had to be made. And in February, we were 9 points behind Brentford, so a remarkable journey. I think as the supporters then started to come back with us, everything felt a little bit better. And Xisco has to take all the credit for changing the whole feeling of the club after Christmas, because it was brilliant. We knew we had the players, but for somebody to come in and change the psychology, the feeling, and just put smiles on players' faces again, and you could see the enjoyment on the pitch, a tremendous job by him. What I'm looking forward to the most is ending what seems to have been one of the most terrible circumstances in the world with the pandemic, which undoubtedly affected us, and rectifying the mistakes that we made as well, that resulted in relegation, and just being back. There seems to be a symmetry. The last time we had a full house, which is so important, I can't wait to see the supporters. The last time we were here was against Liverpool, and it's as if what's happened in between, the supporters haven't had to witness, haven't had to bear the brunt of the mistakes that we did make. And I accept that, and we will learn from those mistakes. They come back, 7 months have elapsed, and we're Premier League. So it's just carrying on where we left off. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. We've got through this short period, the supporters come back, I can speak to them, I can see them, and we're just carrying off where we left off. I'd just like to thank everybody who's subscribed to Hive Live. The support has been immense and appreciated. I talked earlier about how sometimes we felt alone during this season, but that loneliness has absolutely been bridged by knowing that you're there, watching Hive Live, and it's made a massive, massive difference. So thank you so much.
So Scott Duxbury there, the club's chairman and CEO. I think, Tommy, safe to say a little bit more rested hearing from him there. When we last saw him on the chaos that was the Hive Live extra promotion party, he said himself he'd barely slept a wink. And I think actually that afternoon we got a real appreciation for the stress and the pressure that he has faced, certainly in the last 10, 12 months or so.
You could see the tension etched on his face throughout the season, but the relief in his eyes that afternoon when it was actually promotion was clinched, then I think it was nice to see him relax and almost ready to loosen the knot on his tie and maybe have a couple of beers. But he's been under an awful lot of stress. It has been a very, very different season to anything we've all experienced before, and Scott and the rest of the club have coped admirably.
Andy, I think it's safe to say, as fans, we don't always appreciate perhaps the challenges that the senior management at a club can face. Is that fair to say?
I think that's fair to say. I mean, we as fans, when we were down there, having our bovril and our hot pie, we talk a good game. But I think, it's a tough job. But like Scott said, we as fans, last time we were here we were in the Premier League, and the next time we back in here we're in the Premier League. So officially, this season's never happened.
Especially if we do get Liverpool on the first day of next season, it will almost be like a bad dream.
It'll be like the Twilight Zone. It'll be amazing, won't it?
Well, what kind of conversations did you have with the hierarchy when you joined the club? What did they say to you to convince you to come here?
It was quite interesting, obviously, because I came from a club that was also closely run by Gino and his family. So it was always already on the cards. I think when I joined Udinese the first time, the first conversation I ever had with Gino, he did mention Watford in that conversation. So I thought it was a matter of time. Of course, I was just as disappointed as anyone else to see Watford get relegated last season, and that kind of made the situation a little bit more challenging because I wanted to come to Watford, but it had to be something that fitted in what my career was at the time and what I was doing in Italy. But it was an easy conversation after that. I think Gino just explained that he was going to try and hold on to the players that he kept this year, and so the quality was definitely there. So it wasn't necessarily about trying to convince me about bringing any other players in. He just said, this is what we've got and we're really going to go for it. And if you decide to come now, then you can be part of a great project, and it's always good to be part of something that it's a special moment for the club and for the fans, and it'll mean a lot to you as well. So I think it was about a 10-minute conversation, and after that I was sold. So I was just waiting to get on the plane, and it took a little bit longer than I wanted to, but that was because of the Corona situation at the time. But when I finally came, I was really happy to be here and just wanted to get started.
Yeah. Scott was pretty honest there as well, Tommy, about the change in manager halfway through the season. I think the club were sort of 4th or 5th in the table at the time. But as he said, we weren't playing the attacking brand of football that we wanted to at that moment.
Yeah, I think he realised it was a great opportunity. They were still in a good position in the league, like he said, but they just weren't finishing games and killing games off to guarantee the 3 points at the end of 90 minutes. And I think you have to applaud the club for making that decision. It's a very brave decision, but to make it as early as they did, obviously we may not be sat here today if they hadn't made that early decision.
You are watching the Hive Live end of season awards show. We're also going to be reviewing the campaign. I'm in the company of William Troost-Ekong, Andy Collins and Tommy Mooney, and it won't be long until we'll be hearing from Sir Elton John. So do stay tuned for that. But let's turn our attention now to matters on the field by taking a look at part 1 of our season review now. So the Championship season did start on Friday, the 11th of September 2020, which does feel like forever ago now. It was under the lights in front of the cameras at home to Middlesbrough here at Vicarage Road.
Tonight we get back on board the football roller coaster that is the Championship. Despite being away for 5 years, we know all about the ups and downs of this relentless and unpredictable division. Pina again, short to Sema, who swings it in left-footed, and it's headed in! It's headed in by Craig Cathcart! Craig Cathcart opens the scoring in the new campaign for the Hornets. Sema going on the outside of Pearson, drives it across. João Pedro! João Pedro! What a time to score your first goal for Watford. He's 10 yards It's outside the box. Still going Ben Wilmot. It's the feet of Pedro, who could turn. Wilmot's continued into the penalty. Pedro goes for goal. What a goal! What a goal from João Pedro! Sarr against Van Garner and Feminir on the overlap. Feminir towards the penalty spot, and João Pedro scores again! Garner with a long ball forward, with a chip ball forward for Sarr, who controls it and goes for goal. The goalkeeper makes a save, but hits Cleverley! Yes. It's 2! He's up against Ben Foster. Right-footed, Foster makes the save down to his left. Great save from Ben Foster, who's having a super night here at Vicarage Road. With an excellent crossfield ball. Sarr with an early ball in. It's Panizza! Stipe Panizza marks his first league start with his first league goal.
Andy, Borough managed by Neil Warnock. How about that for welcome to the Championship?
I love Neil Warnock. I think he is everything that the Championship is about. I think he's just outrageously loud and vocal. So I ask you, Will, can you hear him when you're on the pitch? Is he the most loudest opposition manager?
Yeah, he'll be up there. He'll definitely be up there, yeah.
I love him. I think he's great.
We got off to a flying start with that victory, and then we drew against Sheffield Wednesday, beat Luton, and then Will, I think you came in after that for the game against Reading, which didn't necessarily end the way we wanted to, but what do you remember about that day in your introduction in a Watford shirt?
I didn't actually manage to play that game. I was on the bench, but just to be part of the team and part of the squad, yeah, I could see what the team was about. And then, one of the main memories, unfortunately, was that Tom Daly got injured that game because he looked very good as well in that first game. Just looking back at some of the games that we've seen flash past now, you can see how many players contributed to this season.
When you look back, Tommy, to how we started this season, I know you've done thousands of minutes of commentary since then, but what do you remember, around the feeling around those first few games and what we were seeing? Because frankly, it was chaos, wasn't there? There was a lot for the club to be organising.
There was an awful lot, and notoriously the start of a season is unpredictable because certain teams will hit the ground running, and obviously pre-season was affected by COVID and preparations for that. There was very, very few pre-season games when normally you play 6-8 games in pre-season. So I think that there was teams at the top of the table, like Millwall and Reading, that were started really well. We started well, but the other teams were perhaps a little bit more consistent, and we were almost playing catch-up after maybe half a dozen games.
I skated over the Luton victory a little bit, but I think we should make a little bit more of that, shouldn't we, Andy?
No, let's keep it simple. It was good, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a shame, obviously, the fans couldn't witness it here in person, but hopefully on Hive Live, I think it looked as if people were enjoying themselves at home. You went through social media that day.
Yes, we were. Yes, we had a wonderful time. It was great.
We won't mention the reverse fixture, but listen, it's okay to lose to Luton if you're getting promoted. I think that's what we should say here on Hive Live here today.
Absolutely.
When you look back then, Will, to those first couple of months of the season, generally speaking, what was your feeling around the squad? Because you came in, I think the mission was clear, wasn't it? This club wanted to get promoted. If you're being completely honest, if I told you there and then you will do it, you'll come in the top 2, what would your reaction have been? Would you have believed me?
It's difficult to say that. I think at the start of the season it was a real belief, and then as the months went on before Christmas, there was probably a moment where we started to doubt that and how easy that would be to try and get the promotion directly instead of playing in the playoffs. It was a bit of a roller coaster, to be honest, and I think, like Tommy said, the start of the season, I think some of the players were still finding each other and had to get used to how we were playing and try and find our identity. So I think that took us a bit too long to realise that. But besides that, you could see there was a lot of quality in the team.
Just draw your attention to that graphic in the bottom of our screens. We can see there. I mean, Norwich aren't even in the top 6, which says a lot. Wow. But Watford 5th at that point, some 7 points, Tommy, off top spot.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with Will, I think it's important to note as well, there wasn't an awful lot of championship experience in the team because the majority of those players have played in the Premier League, and then Will coming in from other countries with other players. So the championship is a very, very different division to any other, as will be the Premier League. but it takes some getting used to. It's certainly a fast-paced game, and it's almost you attack, we'll attack for 90 minutes.
Can I ask Will? Can you, when you're out there and there's no fans at all, how does that? Is it weird?
It's really weird.
Do you just block them out anyway if they were in?
No, you miss that real buzz, because now you can hear Neil Warnock shouting and people like that. But, you try to. Obviously, it's easier to communicate, but you really miss that electric feeling you get from the people being in the stand.
Well, that brings us nicely actually onto our first award of the night. So this one is literally all about you, the fans. I'm delighted that we are joined now by the winner of the Supporter of the Season award. A big congratulations and welcome to Colin Payne. Hello.
Hello, Emma. Hello, everyone.
Nice to see you, Colin. I say again, congratulations. I mean, double celebrations for you with the promotion as well. But what does it mean to be recognised as Supporter of the Year?
Oh, I'll be honest, I was chuffed. I got a phone call last week and sort of sworn to secrecy, but I'm just made up. It's a bit embarrassing, really, because it's a bit of a team effort, because obviously I'm involved with the Watford Treasury and YBR fanzine and what have you. So there are a lot of other people whose name should really be on this award, but it's got my name on, so there we go.
Oh, wow, let's see it properly. You can hold it up for all our viewers at home in all its glory.
It's a lovely bit of glass.
Wow.
It's solid. There's no sort of gin or anything inside. It's very nice. I received it from Cisco on Saturday.
Yes, tell us a little bit more about this. I think I've seen a photo of you and Cisco pitchside here at Vicarage Road. So tell us a little bit more. You met the main man.
Yeah, it was lovely. I got sort of, when I was told during the week, I said, could you make the game Saturday? And I sort of said yes. And they said, oh, we'd like to get someone to present the award to you. And I've come along. So I saw the Swansea game, which was sort of the second game of the season, which was marvellous. And at the end, went down the side of the pitch, and there comes Cisco, that beaming smile that just lights up the world. And he came along and presented the award. It was marvellous. Yeah.
Well, congratulations again. Just finally, tell us a bit about this season for you as a supporter. I mean, you've had to endure Tommy's commentary on Hive Live throughout. But what's it been like supporting from afar?
I hope you're going to stand up for it, Colin.
It's been weird, Emma. Before I say any more, I should say if we're giving out congratulations for sort of Hive Live. It really has been a lifeline for fans. I think it's the first season I've seen every game for years. But it's been weird not being there, and you get these games and sort of it takes a lot to get you out your seat, and there's only a couple of occasions where that's happened. The final whistle at the Millwall game, and again at Norwich, and the Cardiff game. But most of the time it's that sort of subdued atmosphere, and you're thinking if we were there, we'd be in the Rookery, the place to be rocking, we'd be sort of partying almost. And then you feel you're missing out. I feel a bit cheated almost not being there.
Still, there's plenty of time for a party. It won't be long until we have you all back here at Vicarage Road. Just finally, listen, Hive Live is all about connecting you, the fans, with the club. We've got William Troost-Ekong here in the studio with me. So a final word for him as he begins his preparations for next season in the Premier League, Colin.
Yeah, marvellous job. William, you've been part of a cracking defence this season. It's been the story of the season, I think. It's the fact that we haven't leaked the goals. And yeah, we owe it to you guys, really, the fact we are where we are. Don't worry, you haven't got your black tie. I haven't either. But I think at least you're wearing trousers.
Oh, Colin.
Thank you.
We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Congratulations again on winning Supporter of the Season. Colin Payne there.
Well done, Colin.
Our first award winner of the night. There we go, holding it up in all its glory. Right, without further ado then, time to get on with our second award of the evening. So this is the Community Ambassador Award. Now, community is so important to our football club. I think it's one of the things that makes this football club so special. We are the original family club. Last Saturday, all money raised from Hive Live match passes did go directly to the incredible work of the club's community trust. I'm delighted to say that we did raise, thanks to you at home, more than £40,000. for the Watford FC CSC Trust, which is something to be hugely, hugely proud of. So everyone at home, we can't thank you enough for reaching that total. In a year where connection between the club, the fans and the community has never been so important, the winner of this year's Community Ambassador Award is Christian Kabasele.
Christian's extremely deserving of the Community Ambassador Award. He's supported a whole range of community initiatives across the 2021 season. He's been involved in initiatives such as Show Racism the Red Card, supported the We campaign. He's also made some calls, phone calls and video calls for Hornets at Home initiative.
Yes, I'm pleased to win this award because, you know, when you're a football player, you have big chance in their life. You don't have the normal life problems, so you try to give it back to the community what you had.
And more recently, he's also made a donation to the trust via kind of social media. So he's kind of gone that extra bit in terms of, you know, also committing financially himself to supporting our work, which is excellent, and we're extremely grateful for that.
The community trust here means a lot for me. For example, last time during the Eastern holiday, I put my son to the football activity, and he loved it. So yeah, everybody knows that I'm living in Watford for 4 years now, and what the community did what the Watford FC community did for the city, for the town, it's amazing. So if I can help, I always try to help, and I'm just being myself, you know.
So a huge congratulations to Christian Kabasele. But, well, I think it's safe to say that all the players in this squad, they know the importance of the community trust, and, yeah, just how important it is that this club does what it can to serve its local community now more than ever.
Yeah, I think it's one thing that I noticed as well coming to Watford. There's a lot of attention for that, and even though we didn't have as much chances to go and visit people, there was a lot of times that all the players spend a lot of time sending video messages or getting on the phone to different fans, and it's always nice speaking to them because you can get a real feel how much it means to people in the community. So yeah, congratulations to Kabba, because he deserves that, because he's always been doing that extra bit, and yeah, the local man is pleased, I think.
Yeah, he certainly is. We are a family club, Tommy. I think the pandemic really showed that, didn't it? The way that we helped our neighbours over at Watford General. Yeah,
I think the Community Trust has been doing an outstanding job for many years. When Rob came to the football club, I had a full head of hair. He's been here that long, doing a fabulous job, I might add. And, you know, I think the players and everybody else involved with all of the schemes across the board that the club have had and the initiatives to keep people involved, I think has gone down. Certainly the people that I've spoken to, it's gone down very well, and certainly been a help, which is what we all want to do.
Next to no income the last 14, 15 months, Andy, but they've still been able to go out there, the Community Trust, and do their thing.
I think Tommy's hit the nail on the head of everything he's just said. I'm very lucky to work at other clubs doing various things, and other clubs look at us with jealousy, with envy at what we do in our community.
What sets us apart, do you think?
The fact that these guys go and do that, go to the community halls, go to the schools. You know, some players at other clubs are, I can't be bothered to do that. I've got tee off time at 5. These guys straight in there and do that, and it means so much to. And I've been very fortunate to be to some of the schools when the guys go there, and the kids love it. You can't put a price on that. It's brilliant.
I think it's something that's ingrained in the football club.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, it's been happening a long
100%.
time. Certainly, on day one from me signing at the club many years ago, it was made very clear that it's a community club. Throughout Graham Taylor's time after that, and then since then, and they've continued it on. The continuity with Rob in charge as well as I think can only help the community.
Yeah, you kind of touched on it a little bit, Will, but I gather from what you're saying there, you don't necessarily have a similar experience at other clubs. I think clubs generally are quite good at going out in their communities, but here at Watford, do you get the feeling that they do go above and beyond?
Yeah, because like I said, I've only I can only comment about what the players are doing, but even besides that, what I see on the social media and different things that the club shows of the different community schemes, there's a lot of people involved that are not necessarily getting the praise, because it's easy for us to go and show our face somewhere. We can make a lot of people happy, and I think all the players are really happy to do that. But besides, there's a lot of volunteers and a lot of different people that are involved who spend a lot of time invested in the club because they love Watford, and I think that is it's a massive sign as well how much this club means to the community.
Thank you for your time tonight, Will. I think we've mentioned a few times we've got a number of special guests on the way, so we'll leave it there with you. But actually, have you got a final message for the fans that are watching this one at home?
No, I just want to say a massive thank you. I think all you guys have been great as well, and even though we haven't seen the fans this season in the stadium, we really felt that you've been part of the success. So thank you, and I'm looking forward to see you next season.
Yes, bring on the Premier League, William Troost-Ekong. It's been great to have you here.
Get some cake on the way out.
Yes, make sure you get stuck in with Colin the Caterpillar on the way out. Right, won't be long until we're joined by our next guest, which we're all really, really looking forward to. But that is after you've enjoyed part 2 of our review of this season. So cue the highlights now from November and December.
Up against Jacob Brown now. Oh, and he's got past Jacob Brown. Plenty of options for Sema. It's back to Sarr. And there's surely the winning goal for Watford.
Sixth Watford corner. Garner with it from the right-hand side. Headed down by William Ekong, and Watford are level. The goals are flying in at Vicarage Road. 2-2. Sarr, a slow run up, sends the keeper the wrong way, and Watford are back in front. So Chalobah finds Deeney. Chalobah on the volley into the bottom corner. What a wonderful goal that is from Nathaniel Chalobah. Cathcart comes towards the near post. Flicked on by Craig Cathcart. Volleyed into the far post by João Pedro. The Birmingham fan stands with the ball on the penalty spot. Blasted into the roof of the nets. Troy Deeney scores, puts Watford in front. Perhaps for a run for Ken Sema for the first time tonight, up against Aarons. Sema's ball in towards the far post, and Sarr scores! Feeding Vrancic onto his left foot, feeds Pukki. Messina goes to ground. And that's a fabulous tackle from Messina. What a tackle from Messina. The full-time whistle goes. Victory for Xisco Munoz in his first game in charge of the Hornets. Watford are back to winning ways, and they close the gap on Norwich City to 6 points. Look at the celebrations on the touchline. It's been a really, really good first week for the new head coach.
Well, I'm delighted to say that joining us now, we can say a big, warm Hive Live welcome to our club captain, Troy Deeney. Hello.
Apologies, I got told casual, and clearly that wasn't the
I wasn't going to say anything. I know Andy Collins well.
No, I mean, how is the allotment?
I was.
But yes, it's nice to see you all.
Yeah.
Tommy's had a fresh shave as well, looking well.
Not quite Wembley Stadium, I know, but we're doing our best here in the Hive Live studio.
Nice. Unfortunately, I had to listen to Andy again for another year, but we're here.
Listen, we saw some of the footage there. It was a bit of a roller coaster couple of months, wasn't it? I know the build up to Christmas always is. There's so many games. But given that we changed manager, I think for you personally, you had a few goals in there to say the least, scoring the winner against Blues as well. How do you reflect on that little chunk of the season?
I was just happy you had some footage of me from this year. I felt like moods. I thought I started going through the archives to find me. No, it was obviously a transitional period. I think when you listen to what Scott said earlier on, that kind of summed it up really. The place was a bit down in the dumps and needed a bit of life put back into it, and Xisco did that, and the players responded, and we won some important games. I think I don't think we saw it on that. The biggest game for me would have been Stoke away. I feel like that was a turning point because our home form was ridiculous, but there was a lot being said about us not winning away from home, and then we went and did it on a wet and windy night in Stoke.
Yes, as the cliche says. When you look back, I know it was a little while ago now, but where do you think the change was on the road when we started to get some results there?
Again, it would be that Stoke game. Yeah, I think that Stoke game was the one that was the catalyst.
But what do you think it was around that time?
I remember we were poor first half. We kept playing out from the back and inviting the pressure on, and there was a few conversations said at half time by a few people, and we sorted it out. But I think everyone got together. I think you obviously saw Will, got Clevs coming on a bit later on. So yeah, people like that all stepped up, and Nate obviously got a lot of credit. But you could go through the team and start seeing like Sierralta was doing his thing, Danny Batman, Will Hughes, Sarr, everyone took it in turns to really step up, and I think that was for the first time a real team effort.
You certainly stepped up from the penalty spot.
Oh my God, right, so I manage a Sunday League team. All the kids are doing the Deeney penalty now, right? They all scream Deeney and then they smack it right down. Have you got that copyrighted? I mean,
no, I'm kind of the man of the people. I give it to everybody. That's what I do.
Cheers, pal. Everybody does that. Everybody does the Deeney penalty now.
I love the fact that even now, it's 15 years on since I've properly met Moose, and I can still annoy him on a daily basis. It doesn't take long.
We've heard all about your phone calls on the way back from respective matches. Tommy's been telling us about that.
I want to know what Moons thinks, because he always kept telling me that I'd change my mind. I remember listening to the games back, and he's like, he's not going to do it this time, he's not going to do it this time.
As long as I was in your head and you've hit the back of the net, I don't care what I was thinking at the time. I did expect you to slide one into the bottom corner. And you did tell me that you weren't going to do it.
No, do you know what it was? It's just it's one of those ones, it was working, and then you kind of had that like ego thing with the keeper where he's like, you're not going to do it again. I was like, I am. Promise you, it's going right there.
But the key to it is moving it to the side of the goalie, isn't it? Because they all started to stand, they just couldn't catch the power.
But no.
Which is not easy, I've got to say. It's not easy to move that penalty 12, 16 inches over to the keeper's right hand. It's not an easy skill, so fair play to you.
Oh, thanks, mate. I had a decent teacher, didn't I? Michael Ricketts was good.
How much do you practice penalty taking, or is it one of those things? Because it seems like you are one of those players, you just relish the occasion, which must be so impossible to recreate in training. So do you spend much time practicing?
You can't recreate, obviously, the emotion and the nerves of it, but you can recreate your routine and what you're going to do. And also tell keepers where you go. So Batman's been great with me, obviously, when he wasn't playing, Rob Elliott this year as well. But I remember like Gomez as well was really good. Even when he was playing, he'd stay out and try and make the goal as small as possible. So, he'd say, get a penalty tomorrow, I'm going in this corner. You go, but obviously try not to go too early and make it obvious. So, yeah, when you have good goalkeepers, it's easier to recreate on the training pitch.
Just looking towards December now, I think it's fair to say we were pretty solid under Ivic, weren't we? But let's just say the handbrake was on. Is that the right way to put it?
All I remember is watching back and somebody took their glasses off and said,
well, let me tell you, we like to go sideways, and I don't like going sideways. Attack. But I think I kept it very cool, calm and collected.
No, it was a style of play that was probably, if we're being honest, probably more suited for the Premier League. 5 at the back, wasn't needed in this league. I think the teams that did that are your Rotherhams and people like that who are probably not, as qualified as us to go and take games on. And I think in the Championship, which we started to do under Cisco, will say, this is us, 4-3-3. We're going to play this way. It doesn't matter if we're playing Norwich or we're playing Wickham. We're going to take you on. And that's ultimately what got us up, because we're better than everybody. So it was just one of those things really where I think we overcomplicated it a little bit sometimes.
Can I ask as well, because I was saying to Will, with no fans here, and you especially, you love fans, right? You love it, especially when they start giving you grief. You do. You love it. It goes up another two notches. How did you cope with that? Were you able to? I mean, I was professional, I know, but get your stuff.
No, it definitely affects everybody, but you got a good group, so you try and do that. And obviously, with myself, I like to try and just pick a battle with anyone. So it could be
really, no, I never knew that.
It could be a ref, be a linesman, be whoever. I'll try and make something just to generate an atmosphere and do that. But next season is going to be. I think the first couple of games are going to be really, really special because A, fans have missed us. B, we're back in the Premier League, and then you've got that added expectation now where people are used to seeing winning football. You've got to deliver.
See some pictures there of the occasions that we did have fans here at
happy.
Vicarage Road. So those 3 matches, the defeat to Cardiff, unfortunately, we beat Rotherham, drew against Brentford. There we are, some happy fans there. I think here in the Hive Live studio, it made us quite emotional. Did you notice a difference in the other players for those 3 matches? I suppose especially for those ones that are a bit younger and didn't necessarily have the much experience playing in front of fans.
Yeah, he certainly added to the occasion. There's no denying that. I just think you can't replicate that Liverpool night. They're the nights that we're going to look forward to. You know, 5:30 kickoffs, little bit of rain, lights are on. It's go time. Do you know what I mean? All the fans, every tackle was a big cheer. Every time they made a mistake, every time we did something good, everyone was up and ready to go. Those nights are what none of us can explain to these younger players. Like, you have to do it, live through it, and see if you come out the other side.
Do you think that that's why a lot of the games, the tempo was more consistent rather than the ups and downs of a game, because you've got the supporters pushing you on?
100%. And, you know, like if you're 1-0 down, let's say against Cardiff, and we've got a corner, they're trying to suck the ball in the goal, do you know what I mean? And there's pressure on the corner taker, there's pressure on the people going to head it. I think sometimes, not just with our games, but a lot of games, a bit sterile, it's a bit one pace, you attack, we attack. And I was watching the West Ham game yesterday, and like the Everton guys walked into the half, rolled it through, one pass goal. It's like, next season you're not going to be able to do that. Fans aren't going to allow you to let centre halves take 5, 6, 7 touches. It's high tempo, get after it, and that's the thing we're looking forward to.
Do you think when you reflect back, of course you miss the fans cheering the goals, but also did you kind of miss them booing you in a weird way, perhaps when you weren't playing your best?
Yeah. That was never me, by the way. I never.
Mate, don't lie to me. It's fine. Do you know what it is? I think Moons will understand this, because obviously I learnt from the great man. But you pick your battles. So if the team's having a bit of a stinker, say we start poor, someone can put a ball in the channel and you just chase it, go smash from one, and it just gets everyone go, oh, he's angry, let's liven up. And now when you're shouting, I've heard Mood say it a few times, when I'm shouting you can hear it and you can hear everything I'm saying. So if you're not in that environment, at times it will seem like I'm being harsh, but I'm just trying to get something out of you. So you might be the person that needs an arm around you, you might need someone shouting at you, you might just need to be left alone. But when there's fans you don't really notice it, but now you can hear it. And
do you think that's developed you certainly as a captain, but also as a player and a person, because you've had to adapt to that because of the surroundings are so different?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously I bring it on myself, let's be honest. Like, I've got a big mouth, so I don't sit here and ever try and be a victim. Like, I am the guy that brings it all on, but I want to put pressure not only on myself but on this team to deliver, because my end goal, if I'm here next year, 10 years from now, is to have this team being a lot further on than when I first came. When I first came, there was 20 players and 3 stands. Look where we're at now. Do you know what I mean? So we just keep pushing that so that you can have your moment of legacy, that when you look back you can go, yeah, I was a huge part of that.
Fast forward then towards the end of December, I think 22nd of December you were here, Andy. Ivic gone shortly after.
Not my fault.
Or mine.
Just a coincidence.
Sorry about that, Claire.
It definitely wasn't my fault.
Xisco comes in. Of course we beat Norwich. It was an incredible day. Did you know very soon, Troy, that we had someone special in a coach in Xisco?
Yeah, I said it in here. I think I come in straight afterwards, actually, after the Norwich game, and it was just like, did the basics really well, and that's a hard trait, to know what you're good at and to stick to it and not try and be, Pep or Klopp or someone like that. He just knows who he is, what he's about. Got all the boys together, and a simple thing like Sweet Caroline, who knew that would be a motivating factor for everybody. Do you know what I mean? Pick a song that everyone knows, and it goes on 2 minutes before we go out, and it's that little switch, that little trigger in your head, like, right, it's go time now. And it's been great. I'm really pleased that he's got promoted, and I think as well he gives a lot of credit to everybody else, and that's why I kind of made the last, when we went up against Millwall, like, he needs credit, because if it was that easy, Ivic would have done it, or whoever would have done it before. It's not that easy to coach 20, 25 egos and go, right, I'm still the man, but we're all in this together.
Right, we'll have more from Troy and Andy and Tommy very, very shortly. But now it is time for our third award of the evening. So we're going to find out next who is our next inductee into the club's Hall of Fame. So, having signed for Watford in the summer of 1966, tonight's winner captained the club to its first ever league title during the 1968-69 campaign. A side that included the likes of Duncan Welborn, Brian Garvey, Stuart Scullion, Mickey Walker, Tom Whalley, Terry Garbett and Barry and Dean, and helped to steer the club through the unfamiliar territories of the second division, as well as being part of a side that reached the FA Cup semi-final. So it's a huge congratulations to Keith Eddy, our next inductee into the Watford Football Club Hall of Fame. We were delighted that Keith joined us a little bit earlier, all the way from his home in the USA. Well, nice to see you, Keith. Thank you very much for your time. Congratulations on your induction to the Hall of Fame. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? So just tell us about how you came to join Watford Football Club.
Well, I started playing for my local team, Barrow, when I was 17, and I played for them for 4 years. And then I got to the stage where I was a little bit tired of what was going on at the club, and I said that unless things changed, I wasn't going to go back. And the next thing I know, I get a call to say, we'd like to Watford and Brighton and some other team that I forget now. But I went down to Watford, I was 21, and talked to them and signed. And I was with them for 6 years.
What really, really struck me, Keith, when I was looking up your story is that apparently at one point you did consider quitting football to become a milkman. Is that right?
That's correct. This is when I was at Barrow, and it was me and another young guy, and the rest were at the end of their careers, and they were all getting more money than me. And I said, I don't like this situation, so unless something else changes, I'm leaving. Well, and that's when they came at me with, do you want to talk to this club and that club? And sure.
Fortunately, you hung in there, and you've had some incredible highlights, certainly with Watford. But if you had to pick one for you, what would it be?
Oh, it was when we won the division. You know, we clinched it in one game. I can't remember who it was against. We won 1-0, and that clinched it. We'd won it. And that was a highlight of my career, I think. I mean, to be honest with you, I've had quite a lot of highlights, and I've been very fortunate. I mean, I had some highlights at Sheffield, and I had some highlights at the Cosmos. It's been good to me, the game.
When you look back to that day that you won the division, what's your standout memory when you look around you? What were your senses taking in?
Well, it's difficult to say. I mean, we all went up into the director's box and looked out to where they sit, and looked out to the crowd, and everybody was very happy, and you know, such is life.
And an FA Cup semi-final as well. I imagine that was pretty special.
Which I missed because I was injured.
Right.
And I regretted that immensely. I mean, the game was 1-1 at half time, and then all of a sudden they ended up losing 5-1 to Chelsea. But hey, we did well to get there.
I'm also told you got an incredible record from the penalty spot. Was that your specialism back when you were playing?
I guess. I mean, at the beginning, I mean, it was just like, Keith, will you take one? Okay, I'll take one. And then from there, it went on and on and on. And then I was taking them at Sheffield, then I was taking them at the Cosmos. You know, I quite liked it. I mean, I enjoyed the pressure.
Yeah, well, you were obviously very good at it. Just finally, when you reflect on this moment, being part of Watford Football Club's Hall of Fame, just how proud does that make you feel? What does it mean?
I consider it a real honour. I mean, here I am at 76, and all of a sudden I'm being recognised for something I've done earlier in my life, and I appreciate it immensely.
Well, we appreciate you, so thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations once more. It's been great to catch up.
Well, thank you, and it's nice to meet you.
So congratulations once more to former Hornet Keith Eddy, our latest inductee into the Watford Football Club Hall of Fame. Again, I want to pick up on something we were talking about there. Keith says at one point he was considering quitting football to become a milkman. So Tommy, is there any point where you thought about quitting football, not necessarily to become a milkman, but an alternative career?
Definitely wouldn't have been a milkman. They have to get up too early for me. No. Ironically, I was training to be an accountant before I got into football at 17, 18. I'd have told you not to pay so much for that T-shirt.
What about you, Troy?
I always wanted to be a firefighter, believe it or not. Yeah, but yeah, 4 days on, 4 days off was the kind of thinking behind it. But some of us come in the hard way, so I'm already technically a builder, hence the big hands.
Right, on to, I should say once more, actually, congratulations to Keith Eddy. It was really, really great to catch up with him there here on Hive Live at the end of season awards show. So time now to announce our fourth award of the evening. This one is all about the next generation of Watford players, our Academy Player of the Season. So the winner of this year's award is Bosun Lawal, who was presented with his trophy a few days ago by the Academy Head of Coaching, Barry Quinn.
He really does deserve this award, Bosun. He's worked extremely hard. It's been noticed all through the season. And very, very popular player.
Yeah, I'm really pleased to win this award because obviously I've come here just wanting to show everyone what I'm capable of doing and showing people what my talents and stuff. So obviously, and the quality the academy have, and me being the player to win the Player of the Award is a surreal moment.
Well, people look at him and obviously assume his size and strength would be his attributes. They certainly are part of it, but he's more than that. He's much more than that. He's a ball player. Can play in a couple of positions, low maintenance, manager's dream.
Just keep going how I'm going and hopefully get the right opportunity to play with the first team. Obviously step into 23s next season and keep showing people what I'm capable of doing.
Sky's the limit. With the right opportunity, I think the sky's the limit. I think it could go all the way.
My family will be very proud because obviously they've sacrificed a lot for me, and for me to win the Academy Player of the Year, they'll be very proud of me.
Tommy, we'll come to you first. He seems like an exciting prospect.
Yeah, I've heard good things about him. Centre-half that can play holding midfield, very athletic and comfortable in possession of the ball. I've used all of the words that Troy was about to use when you described him. He has no idea who he is, but he was asking me for background.
Well, Troy, I'm sure you probably know Bosun a little bit better than us around the training grounds. What can you tell us about him?
Well, obviously some of us watch games as well, so I obviously saw him against Newcastle. I thought he did well. He was captain that day. Somebody should have nuked Tom. But no, honestly, about 3-4 days later, he played Sheffield United, and I was there with Robbo because Robbo watches games as well. We stood and watched him, and you know what? He's got a little bit of decorum about him. He can go past somebody effortlessly and keep stride. He got a big long stride. Thought he did really well. And again, 3-4 days after playing in the under-23s, he played another 90 minutes, and it was effortless to him. I think there's not many young players that catch your eye and you go, oh, he's going to have a career, and he certainly does that, yeah.
Wow, sounds very exciting.
Is he very tall, or is Barry very small?
Both. Okay. Both. No, I think he's about 6'2", 6'3".
Oh, God,
yeah. He's tall, yeah. Andy, I think as fans, it's exciting, isn't it, when we see academy players breaking into the first team? So
oh, yeah. It's very exciting.
He sounds very promising, doesn't he?
Can I ask, though, when they break into the first team, are they nervous, or are they cocky, confident? Do you have to put your arm around them, or is it?
To be honest, the ones that last normally have an arrogance about them.
Oh, really?
Normally, yeah, because they feel this is what they've been working towards and this is what they want. It's the ones who come in and they're all screaming and shouting, and then after someone smashes them, they kind of go away because, it's not PC to say, but everybody smashes a young boy because they're coming for your job. So it's like, right, give him a little bit, see what he's about. And the ones who last normally give you back straight away. So yeah.
I don't remember tackling you too hard when you got into the Walsall team.
Less said about that, the better. But the best part about it is Moons couldn't run at that point, so I could get away from him. But he certainly made me do a lot of press-ups and, you know, bullied me in other ways, but it's fine.
I told you, it's not all about the running, Emma. When you're quick up here, you don't need to get down there. I'm sick of telling you that.
Tommy, how much will promotion help with the academy side of things?
Yeah, I think it gives them a really good opportunity. It also gives, you know, it asks the most important question is when are they going to get into the first team? Obviously going up a division probably limits their chances of playing in the first team next season. So it's about how you develop those players and how you make sure that their progression keeps continuing, whether that be out on loan or training with the first team more consistently. So I think it's important to have those, the individuals that need it have to be pushed and tested, whichever way that may be. Even
though their chances in theory might be a bit more limited, Troy, I bet there's a real buzz around the academy knowing that we are Premier League again though, and that these players are associated with a Premier League club.
Of course, it's great not only for the players but for the whole town, isn't it? We're all associated with a Premier League club. But I think just to dovetail off what Moons was saying, it's about the infrastructure and what are we doing to make these kids have the best chance to be Premier League footballers. It's okay going through 16s to 18s to 23s, but how many people now transition that easy? It's about loan moves, where are they going? Do we have somebody like Moons who can put them in the right loan spaces and say, right, for your position and for what you're going to do, you're going to go to this place because this is going to develop your career. So there's certainly jobs and avenues that we all have to do to make sure these kids have the best future because it's a really difficult job. What is it? 0.4% of people end up playing Premier League football. So we have to be honest with them. But we can also say if you're not a Premier League footballer, it doesn't mean you don't have a career as a League One, League Two. That's still a really good career. So, yeah, about being honest, but also giving them a pathway to do their job properly.
Well, we should say congratulations again to Bosun Lawal, who has won the Academy Player of the Season award. Troy, I think it is time to say goodbye for this season anyway. Have you got a final message for the fans
I hope
that are watching?
this season. You said that a bit like, thanks for everything, pal. See you soon.
Any departing words for now for the fans that are watching?
Enjoy the time away for a bit. Hopefully with the easing of lockdown, everyone can start seeing their families and getting back to some form of normality. But you know, come middle of August, let's hope we've got a good game here at home and we can all have a tear up together.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there.
I like it.
Troy Deeney, club captain, great to have you with us here on the Hive Live end of season awards show. It's a special night, so we've got a whole host of special guests to look forward to, including a man that really needs no introduction, but Sir Elton John has spoken exclusively to Hive Live over the weekend, so you've got that on the way to look forward to as well. But time now for part 3 of our season review. We do have a next guest waiting in the wings to join us here in the Hive Live studio, but before they do, here are some of the highlights from January and February.
So O'Brien is first to the dropping ball. Go on, then turns it back to the goalkeeper. Oh, Cleverley scores! What a mistake from the goalkeeper. And Tom Cleverley chases down a lost cause. Feminir is round Jones, and Feminir into the box looking for Sarr, and it comes to João Pedro at the far post to double Watford's lead. Troy Deeney against Bursic. Again fired, such power from the captain. Cleverly with a nice ball for Deeney, and Deeney's released Sarr. Sarr into the penalty area. Sarr shoots and finds the bottom corner. What a fine finish from Ismaïla Sarr. Now looks for Sarr. Can Sarr square it? It comes to Sema. It's 4 now. Here's Sarr. Sarr in for the hat-trick. He leaves it for Philip Zinkenagel to score his first Watford goal and to make it 6. And he looks for him again. Sarr on the outside. What pace towards João Pedro. Oh, and it flicks off him and goes in. A little bit of luck for João Pedro. Watford have got lots of men forward. Hughes goes for goal. Will Hughes scores against his former club. Well, Cleverley and João Pedro might be in the penalty area here. João Pedro lobs it over the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. Here's Ken Sema. Into the box, Sema. Into his left foot and makes it 3! On the hour mark, the 2-goal advantage is restored.
Well, I'm delighted to say that joining us now in the Hive Live studio as part of our end of season awards show, we've got the Hornets goalkeeper, Dan Bachmann. Hello, how are you?
Good evening, everyone. I'm good, thank you.
Well, it's great to have you with us. It was chaos last time we saw you, wasn't it, as part of the Hive Live promotion party? You and Ben Foster in here, but I can't imagine you're ever going to get sick of talking about this season, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously you just mentioned a couple of weeks ago now, the Millwall game, it was a bit, you know, you probably realised when I was in here, I was a bit lost for words and a bit struggling to speak because it was, it was a nice day. It went too quick. I kind of like to live it again if I could, but it was, it was a lovely day.
Do you feel like it's sunk in now, your Premier League status?
Yeah, I think it has now. It took a couple of days, maybe for me a bit more than for other players. You know, after my last couple of years, you know, of not playing at all, and so yeah, it's definitely sunk in now. Yeah.
Let's take a look then at January and February. So part 3 of the season review we're doing for you here on Hive Live this evening. January the 16th, I think it was your league debut against Huddersfield. What are your memories of that day?
Yeah, it was just great to start with, obviously a clean sheet and 3 points, and you know, it was a situation when I got into the team where it almost felt like, you know, almost kind of went into every game having that feeling of having to win, and we're not allowed to drop points, and obviously that, you know, puts a lot of pressure on you, and that was from the first game really since I came to the team. So that definitely settled my nerves, you know, going into the next few games, starting with a win and a clean sheet, and yeah, I've enjoyed every minute since then.
Tommy, I'm sure as a former player yourself, you can appreciate the kind of pressure that Dan was coming into at that point.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, and Dan will always be modest about his performances, but I can be far more honest. He was certainly a very influential part of the team when he was called upon. He did what he had to do, and you know, the team started to play really well at that stage of the season, and winning games is an infectious thing to have, and that winning dressing room, and certainly, you know, right the way through from Dan to the strikers, you could all see they were almost eager for the next game to get that feeling, and I think essentially that's what's got them promoted in the end.
Andy, for you, how excited were you about the way Dan started when he first came in goal?
Well, I was as a fan, and you're like, okay, does anybody Google? Let's Google here. Oh yeah, he looks good. And literally, I'm not just saying this. Literally, within at least 2 or 3 games, you go, oh yeah, we've got that covered. There's no worries there. That's fine. As a fan, initially though, there was that worry of I don't know anything about.
Well, not only that, I suppose for you, Dan, there was pressure there, not just because of the situation on the pitch, but fortunately at Watford, we have had this great line of goalkeepers, you know? They were big shoes to fill.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, like you said, there was the pressure of obviously the games, like I just mentioned, you know, having to win the games. And then, of course, it put a bit of pressure on myself as well, you know, knowing I've finally got the chance now, and, you know, I need to make sure I take it. And but yeah, obviously deep inside me, I always knew I'll be ready. You know, I tried to, I've said it a few times before, you know, I always tried to train every week like I was playing, even when I wasn't, you know, just to make sure in case I'm ready. So
do keepers have a different style? So to different goalkeepers.
Yeah, I mean, obviously some keepers are, you know, a lot more technical, you know, like technically schooled. Other keepers are a lot faster, or, you know, every keeper's different. It's the same with outfielders, you know, keepers are a bit of a special breed in general. But yeah, we're all different in our own ways. Yeah.
Things were bumbling on fairly nicely in January, but then we did have that awful week where we lost to QPR and then drew with Coventry City, which I think was early February. Then this team meeting happened, which we've heard sort of little snippets about. What was your take on it all?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that week, you know, wasn't great, and you know, we caused ourselves a lot of stress in that week, and you know, put ourselves under a lot of pressure, you know, going forward into the last 3 months of the season, because, you know, we've dropped back a little bit, and obviously dropped a lot of points in that week in games where you'd expect us to win, and we'd expect you know, to win these games, and we didn't. Even from positions, you know, the QPR game we were 1-0 up, I think, with 10 minutes to go, and ended up losing the game. And at Coventry we never really got going, and I don't think we even had half a chance in that game. And yeah, so you know, we kind of sat together and you know, spoke freely, and everyone, you know, had to say what we had to say, and obviously it worked very well. And I think the next game was Bristol City, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, we all remember that game. That was a very enjoyable game for everyone, I guess, involved with Watford Football Club. So yeah, since then, obviously, and we changed formation after the Coventry game as well, which you could see on the pitch, you know, was a massive difference.
So is that team meeting, is it really like finger pointing, or just like getting together and go, what are we doing wrong? I mean, it's not really finger pointing, no. I mean, you know, obviously we're all grown men and we're all footballers, and we know the situation we were in at the time. You know, it's not finger pointing at all. It's just basically sitting together and saying, listen, lads, you know, we have to be better than that as a team. You know, look at ourselves first, obviously what we can do better, and then make sure we bring that on the pitch into the next game. And I think, like I said, it's worked, and obviously Bristol City was the next game after that.
Yes, 6-0 that afternoon. Tommy, what were your memories of Coventry, other than having an awful lot of goals to talk about? The changing formation that Dan talked about there, but did you expect it to be that successful, that good, especially after the week we'd had previously?
No, you don't. You hope for a reaction, and we'd heard all about the team meetings, and I've been in several of those myself. And I think to add to Dan's answer, the more honest players are with each other, then the more successful that meeting will be. Okay. And I think certainly because of the momentum and the early goals in the Bristol City game, you see that team spirit and team ethos come through. I found out in that game that when we score a goal, I say get in quite a lot. But probably only up until the fourth goal, and fifth and sixth is like, well, the game's over, it's dead. Don't waste those goals, because I know you don't get them every week. But no, it was a fabulous performance, and certainly I think that was one of the key points to turning around the season.
Yeah, the defensive unit as a whole has played a huge part in what we've done this season. You'd almost say from the start, unlike perhaps the creativity going forward that wasn't necessarily there as much as we're seeing it now at the back end of the season, you've been pretty rock solid from the beginning. It feels a bit unfair picking out individuals. We have William Troost-Ekong in here, Sierralta, Kiko is obviously, and Adam Messina have got all their Premier League experience as well. But for you, coming into a side that was so solid, that must have been quite a luxury for you, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, as a goalkeeper, I don't really go into the game thinking, well, I've got these defenders in front of me, you know, they'll help me out, you know. I don't really think that. I just go into the game thinking, you know, whatever comes my way, I'll save. You know, that's what I have to do, and that's what I try to do in every game I played this season. So yeah, it's not really a thought process of going, well, I've got Will, I've got Fran, I've got Kiko and Adam in front of me, so I'm all right. You know, because obviously that can go wrong very quickly if you just rely on them.
But it's the unit, isn't it? In commentary many times I called it a back five.
Exactly, and you've mentioned the defenders there. I mean, it starts from the front really. I mean, if you think about Hughes, Clefs, Chalo, Goz, Carlos, you know, whoever's played in midfield, the wingers tracking back, Isma tracking back, which is, you know, we've seen players of his standard, you know, not all of them do that hard work. So fair play to Isma, because, you know, like I said, you know, some of the players of his standard and the quality he has going forward, they can be a bit lazy, and he wasn't at all. You know, he's done the hard work going back, and that's why we were so successful, because we worked for each other, we fought for each other, and you know, helped each other out when we had to.
It must really add something to promotion, though, for you personally, because, you know, it's not like the situation at, say, Brentford when they've got an Ivan Toney character. Everyone's chipped in, but to have these defensive records as well this season, for that to go down on paper and be such a big part of what you've done, yeah, it must just add some extra significance to what you've done.
Yeah, of course, obviously as a goalkeeper, you know, the defensive record is what you want. You know, I don't get anything from, you know, if we score 95 goals a season. So yeah, it's certainly nice to have that record of, you know, least goals conceded, and obviously kept quite a lot of clean sheets as well, which you know, I've always been told when I was younger, goals win your games and clean sheets win your championship. So that's definitely proved itself this season for us.
I suppose for you, Andy, watching at home, it's made the whole experience a bit more comfortable and enjoyable, hasn't it? Having such a rock-solid defensive unit.
I agree. The first few games I was behind the sofa, but I now sit in front and watch it. Yeah. I don't eat so much chocolate. So on behalf of my dietitian, I thank you.
Right, I think might be able to see the league table towards the end of February now. We was looking at it a little bit earlier, Dan, I think around October, November time, and the way we've climbed up, it's been quite something. At this stage though, so end of February, I think this is before we really put that run together, we were third, bit of a gap there, certainly behind Norwich City, but creeping up behind Brentford. So just finally, Dan, on this, what do you remember about the dressing room at that time? I mean, were you having conversations still? Was it about playoff chat? Was it still, no, we must chase down the top two? What do you remember?
Well, no, I think for us it was always going up straight away, you know, even when I came into the team and we were quite a way back and obviously struggling, you know, to score goals and win games. It was always to go up either first or second, you know, that was always the plan all the way through the season. And of course, you know, when you drop back a little bit, maybe, you know, in your own mind, it comes a little bit thinking, oh, we might have to settle for the playoffs here. But in the dressing room, we always were together and, you know, knowing that's what we want to do and that's what we're going to do. Just remember the Cardiff game, obviously, you know, that moment was huge in our season, and that showed as well how together we are. You know, that was kind of moment off the pitch. I mean, it was on the pitch, but away from football, that togetherness with all the staff running down from the stands, and that was a big moment in the season as well, I feel.
Yeah, I think we can all agree actually in the Hive Live studio. Certainly, I remember that day. Right, more from Dan Backman shortly. Andy Collins, Tommy Mooney also here with me in the Hive Live studio for one final time this season as we reflect on what has been an incredible campaign for the Hornets, which has ended in our promotion back to the big time, back to the Premier League. It won't be long until we are back together here at Vicarage Road to enjoy that. But for now, we are firmly focused on tonight's awards. Time for another award now. So we're going to bring you the Young Player of the Season next in association with Apex. Having joined the club from Fluminense in Brazil back in January 2020, this year's Young Player of the Season is João Pedro. So congratulations to our Young Player of the Season for the 2020-21 campaign, João Pedro. Shaking hands there with Cristiano Sierralta, our sporting director here at Watford. Tommy, his work rate, his determination has been right up there all season.
And his desire to work for the team. Dan talked about Ismaïla Sarr's work rate, but also João Pedro. And, you know, to play in a front three as a number 9, he doesn't play with his back to goal. He's moving all of the time, and he has the skill and the technique to pull off goals like that at Derby, which really is when you look back at it now, it was a huge goal. And then other goals where he's getting into the 6-yard box, which is a finisher's goal, and has the confidence to take a penalty as well. So you know, he's really stood up, and I think he's grown up an awful lot. And when you work really hard, you get lucky goals like that you don't even know anything about, and they just hit you and go in. So that's, you know, I was always told the harder you work, the luckier you get, and João Pedro got lucky then.
Yeah, certainly so. Andy, I think it's fair to say when he joined us in January 2020, we were in the dizzy heights of the Premier League, he probably didn't envisage himself at Rotherham away midweek.
No.
But, you know, he took it with both hands, didn't he, the opportunity, and he's done well.
He's done well, and once again, my Google search engine was very busy, not on the usual stuff. And once again, you know what I mean? Because it's not a real taxi. Anyway, so he was amazing, just amazing. Because he's quite skinny. And you think, oh, he's...
Saying that, do you remember at the start of the season we were told he put on 5 kilos, I think it was, for the championship?
Amateur.
Yeah,
so, you know, and he was brilliant, and he holds his own. He don't back down, does he?
No, what's he like around the dressing room?
Yeah, he's very funny. He's a funny guy, even though he doesn't speak English. He's trying. He's trying, but he's just a funny character. You know, he's very bubbly, and obviously he's very young. I'm not even sure how old he is. I think he's 19 now.
Yeah.
that is very young, especially to come, you know, from Brazil to England, not speaking the language, and then, you know, like you just said, playing Rotherham away, Wickham away. It's not easy, you know. It's difficult, and you know that players from these teams are going to come for you, and they'll try and, you know, hurt you in a way, and see if you want it on a cold Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And he's definitely stood up to that, and you know, you've mentioned his work rate there, which is, I think, was probably his strongest part of the game this season. Obviously, we all know how good he is on the ball, but if you look at his movement off the ball, and you know how he tracks back and how much he runs and presses, that often, you know, goes under the radar. But you know, you just mentioned it there. He's been brilliant all season.
Some similarities there, certainly if we look at his career so far, to Richarlison. Hopefully we hold on to him though, certainly so. Huge potential though, I think, for him in the Premier League. Would you agree, Tommy?
Yeah, huge potential, and you know, I think maybe this year's a realisation of certain parts of the game that he didn't understand. I think it's almost fast forwarded his learning, because he's had to play in different roles, played against different styles of players than you get in the Premier League, which is his, prior to this season, was his experience of English football. So he knows that he'll certainly be a little bit more looked after next season in the Premier League by officials than he's been in the Championship. But I just think for a young player, Dan said at his age, for those young players playing first team football and to be playing 25, 30 games, they learn so much quicker when they're that age than they do if it's a 26, 27-year-old going into the team. They're appreciative of playing. The younger players learn so much more.
I suppose, Dan, yeah, he'll be facing different types of defenders next season, but can you see him flourishing in the top flight?
Yeah, of course, certainly. You know, like Thomas just mentioned there, the referee's protecting him a lot more, and I think that'll help him a lot next season, because, like I said, those games where players, you know, from the other team tried to hurt our players like João, Isma, Ken, you know, of course they're going to do that, you know, because that's a way of stopping them, and they'll definitely be protected more in the Premier League, and he'll certainly thrive on that, I think, and you know, look even better.
Right, let's get on to our 6th award of the evening now then. So this is Goal of the Season, which I think, let's face it, is a really, really tough one. A whole host of memorable goals this campaign. But as they say, there can only be one winner. So this year's Goal of the Season award does go to Nathaniel Chalobah for his goal against Cardiff City back in March.
To be honest, I thought I wasn't going to get it. I thought Ismaïla Sarr was going to get it, or João at least. But yeah, I'm chuffed. I'm happy, really happy with it. When I think back at the goal, I just really think about the fact that we were 1-0 down at the time and we managed to get a goal back quite quickly. Was the most important thing for me, and I think when I look back at it now, it looks pretty impressive. So yeah, I'm chuffed with it. It's got to be up there. I know everyone talks about the goal against Leicester, but I think that's got to be one of my favourite ones.
It was a great strike, wasn't it, Tommy? I bet you enjoyed commentating on that.
Yeah, there was some very, very good nominations for Goal of the Season. There were some outstanding finishes, but for me, that's got a bit of everything. The balance and confidence to be able to go from your left foot to your right foot in such a small area on the pitch. It's almost like when you look at it from the angle that we're looking at it now, you can see what he needs to do. But to know that at pitch level is the hardest thing. And the composure in the finish was outstanding. I've certainly never scored a goal anything like that.
I'm sure you, Andy, can appreciate the footwork there as an athlete yourself.
As an athlete, I can. Yeah. Can I be really honest and speak like a fan? And I know I'm in between two amazing footballers. As a fan, initially at the beginning of the season, I'm going to be honest with you, there was a lot of us that were going, oh, what's he doing? His touch is all over the shop. And our love for him was somewhat diminished. But something happened, and now we love him again. Does that make sense as fans? Does that make sense? I mean, I know I'm speaking like a fan here, and I'm being honest with you. The Twitter was like, oh, for God's sake, what's he doing now? And then suddenly he just seemed to flourish, and it's amazing to watch.
It seemed like the captain's armband played a role in that with Nate. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Nate, you know, he's not an old player at all. I think he's my age, and but he's certainly very experienced.
Yeah.
And he's definitely stepped up this season, like you said, and you know, he's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, our whole midfield in general. But yeah, you know, it always seemed like whoever's got the armband on was the best player on the pitch. That's what it seemed like all the way through the season, really.
I mean, it must give you that extra 5-10% though.
Yeah, I guess it does. I mean, it shouldn't really make a difference whether you got the armband on or not. It's obviously a nice feeling, you know, to captain, you know, the football club you play for. But you know, you got to be a leader anyway on the pitch, you know. And but yeah, he's certainly enjoyed it very much. And I think, was he captain in that game?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, he's definitely enjoyed that one. And like I just said when we were off camera, that's something you do on the streets, you know, when you play with your friends. That little skill there. So it's very, very good goal.
What was he like when, no, full time, about that goal? Was he like keeping it low key, or was he like, let's have a look at that again?
You mean in the dressing room after the Cardiff game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was talking then, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It was, I'm not going to lie, we all knew how big a goal Adams was. So Nate's, you know, straight after kick-off, Nate's goal kind of went under the radar a little bit because we just scored. You know, obviously Adams' goal was a good goal as well, and it was just the fact that we got 3 points. And there was a bit of celebrating going on in the dressing room, maybe a bit premature, but we all knew how big that was for us as a team going forward into the last, I think 2 months or so were left. So yeah, no, he wasn't saying very much after the game.
That is very true. Actually, he was a bit unlucky with the timing, wasn't he, for Adam Messina to score that last-minute goal in the same game? But yeah, we certainly appreciated it here in the Hive Live studio. Just before we move on, though, Dan, what was your view of both goals? Actually, can you see much?
Yeah, so the second one, I didn't see the second one go in.
Right.
I just saw players because it looked like it was
neither
going.
Did their goalie.
That's a bit harsh.
That's a bit harsh.
It's a great strike.
I know you're in the goalkeepers union.
Strike.
I'm in the strikers union. That goalkeeper dived out the way.
It's a great strike. It's a great strike. A lot of bodies in front of him, but no, I actually didn't see the ball go in. I just saw a lot of players run off, and I thought, how's that ball gone in?
Yeah.
So I looked to the linesman, flag stayed down, and then I just saw everyone running down. But as soon as you know, maybe 10 seconds after that, something went through my mind. There was still about 5 minutes left or so, because I think there was a lot of time added on anyway, and it was pretty early into added time. And the way Cardiff play, they can score at any moment, especially from kickoff. You know, they just put everyone forward, one flick on, and they're in. So we knew we had to. Well, I certainly thought about it straight away. You know, knowing that we can't just think now the game's over, because it definitely wasn't. But yeah, we've seen the game out clever, and yeah, that was a huge win for us.
Yeah, and a huge congratulations again to Nathaniel Chalobah for winning goal of the season. There were some incredible contenders, but it has gone to Nate for that strike against Cardiff City. So well done to him. Right, let's move on now to the fourth and final part of the season review. So this covers the all-important business end of the season, and we do have highlights from March, April and May next.
Shots blocked, it'll come to Zinkernagel. Now Chalobah onto his right foot. Chalobah's shot! What a strike that is! Watford back in it straight away, and it's the captain Nathaniel Chalobah. Tino is in! Adam Messina! Adam Messina has won the game for the Hornets! It's the Dane once more. His cross slotted in by Sierralta! Back again by Feminir. Gets again from Chalobah and finds Sarr, men forward here. Sarr into the penalty area onto his left foot. What a goal! What a goal from Ismaïla Sarr! Sarr to his right. Here's Ismaïla Sarr into the penalty area again. It's two! Sarr again! They just can't handle him. Cleverly trying to keep it alive. It's João Pedro. Looking for Gosling! Dan Gosling finds the back of the net with a big goal for the Hornets on a big night at the top of the championship. There's the full-time whistle. Come on! Will today be the day? Now they need just 3 more points from 3 games to make an immediate return. Ismaïla Sarr scores the penalty and sets Watford on their way. Watford are back in the Premier League. Cisco Munoz has done it.
Oh, what an exciting few months it has been for Watford fans far and wide. Welcome back once more to the end of season awards here on Hive Live. We have just said our goodbyes to the Hornets goalkeeper Dan Bachmann, but delighted to say now that in the hot seat we're joined by Hornets midfielder Tom Cleverley. Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks. Thanks for giving me the best part of the season.
Yeah, you got the easy bit now. What a brilliant month or so it has been. I know personally as well, you've had some really good news and a perfect end to the season. And now you're here to talk about it all.
Yeah, obviously it's been a bit of a whirlwind 6 weeks or so, but yeah, plenty of congratulations coming my way. And sometimes it's for promotion, sometimes it's for the Twins, but no, it's been a nice period.
When we look back to that last game of the season just a few days ago now, just how important was it to finish on a high?
Yeah, I thought the lads did really well, especially the players who haven't been playing so much. And we were talking about the Swansea or the Millwall?
Yeah,
the
Swansea.
So yeah, I was really pleased for them. Really important to finish on a high, like you said, and because even though the job was done, we still had a bit of a sour taste after the Brentford game that we'd not really performed, and yeah, we didn't want to finish such a good season with 2 defeats, so important one.
And after the Millwall celebrations, the euphoria, do you feel like now your Premier League status has sunk in a little bit?
Yeah, it definitely took a few days, but I think towards the end of that week it was starting to sink in, and watching the Sky games on the telly of the Premier League and feeling like that's going to be us on Super Sundays and things like that again next year, it starts to sink in, and yeah, these pictures obviously gives you a few goosebumps watching them back.
Yeah, they were great scenes, but Andy, the only ingredient missing, the fans.
Yeah, I know, but you know, we'll
be back.
We'll be back. We'll be back, and it'll be amazing. It will be amazing. Trust me, we may not have been there, but we were in the pond. I got ringworm. I'm very proud of that fact. You know what I mean? I had a lovely kebab, so I was with you in spirit.
Let's rewind then to the beginning of March. It was an incredible month, wasn't it, Tommy? I think we won every single game. Before that, though, that horrible defeat to Bournemouth. Sorry to bring it up, Tom, but we do have to. Bit of a catalyst, though, do you think, that defeat, Tommy?
I think we said at the time that what happened in the last 10 minutes of the Bournemouth game, you know, Tom will know. I think that if you need any more motivation to go and beat Bournemouth to promotion, then that's it, because of the way that they held themselves and the way that the Watford players held themselves. For me, I think you should always be respectful to your opponents. I don't mind leaving it on them every now and again, but be respectful. And I think that, like you say, I absolutely think it was a catalyst for them going on to produce some really good performances for extended periods, not just 10 minutes here and there. I think for me, there was some really good football played in the next, 6-8 games.
Yeah, well, you tell us, Tom. Do you think there was an element of that? It was
definitely.
blessing in disguise?
I think leading up to that Bournemouth game, we were just starting to play like a team who like we should have been playing all season, and we felt like we had real momentum to lose that game, and the way everything panned out, it really did. I think I even said it to the lads after the game, this should motivate us even more than we already are, and it did in the end, so it was a blessing in disguise.
In all your time of being a Watford fan, Andy, March was good, wasn't it? Winning.
It is nice. It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't happen very often, but it's nice. I want you to understand as well, from fans, right, that when we know that you're in the team, us fans, we go, yes. And I know you've been around the game a long time, but I hope you can get that feeling of how much you are loved by us fans. Because you are, if you're not on the team sheet, we're a little bit upset. So I just want to say that.
No, that's nice to hear, obviously.
I just want to say that. Have some cake at the end. I just want to say that. You know what I mean? I'd see you on the team sheet. It's all right, Tom's in. We've got this game. We've got the 3 points.
Yeah.
I used to look the same when you played.
You've got some memory, you have.
Do you feel that, though? I know you've not had the fans here, Tom, but...
Yeah, no, I think this year has definitely been one of the years I've really felt that. I think players like myself can sometimes go under the radar, and I don't score 10 goals a year, or I'm not doing Cruyff turns and step overs and things like that. But no, this year I've really felt the love from the fans, and hopefully I've repaid them with my all-energy performances.
Well, this is it, though. I think the beauty of this team has been that everyone's chipped in, Tommy, and done their bit. We've mentioned it already. We don't necessarily have a top scorer that's banging 20, 30 goals, but that's not mattered because we've had this incredible team spirit. And yeah, everyone's done their bit on the pitch, even if it is a bit ugly at times.
Yeah, and I think, I've mentioned it many times, I think when you get promoted and you have that team spirit in the dressing room, you say our 99 group, we still have a WhatsApp, so you can still we still all hammer Robbo on the WhatsApp.
That's amazing.
So it's, you know, yeah, I think those are the dressing rooms that you remember when you win something, and you know that perhaps ours was slightly different to this team. We weren't the best players in the Championship, but together nobody could stop us delivering and getting promoted. And certainly with the gaffer in charge wouldn't let us take our foot off the gas. This group of players are very, very talented players, arguably Premier League players playing in the Championship, but getting out of the Championship is not an easy thing to do. Yeah. And this group have done it because I think since Christmas they've come together.
I mean, not only have you got us into the Premier League, but you will never, ever, ever have to pay for a drink in Revolution again. Ever. what a gift. That's amazing, isn't it?
You said that to me 20 years ago. It's not true.
Would you say this is one of the best dressing rooms you've been in?
Yeah, certainly since I've been back here, yeah. I think what's important is that we remember this feeling and this atmosphere, and when results maybe aren't so good in the future, we go back to these moments, and it's been like a band of brothers since the Coventry game. I think we all sat down and had stern words with each other, and yeah, we could have took it the wrong way and separated even further, but we didn't. We really came together, and we have to keep this atmosphere that we've got now into next year. Yeah,
I mean, it's generally been a very positive few months, but got to talk about the defeat to Luton. We'll get to that in a moment, actually. We can see Xisco's record here. We've reflected a little bit on the time that he came in December, Tom, but when he came in, what kind of coach did you think you had? A coach getting these kind of numbers?
Yeah, I mean, that's brilliant. I think something like 57 points from 26 played, so it's unbelievable. First of all, he just tried to heighten the mood, really. The place was a bit down. We'd come off some flat performances, some poor performances, and he just tried lifting the mood. And yeah, he did that. He was bubbly straight away. He found a way to win against Norwich. Swansea were still a bit of a work in progress, and then yeah, from Bristol City onwards, he really, a few masterstrokes like playing Hughes in the 6, and where people would think Chalobah should play there, but he moved Nate up, played Hughes in there, and they're tactical things that maybe people don't see, but us as players, we've definitely seen what the manager's brought to it, and yeah, he's got to take a lot of credit.
He is so positive and smiley, but he does seem to respond to the really tough situations as well. I mentioned there, unfortunately, the defeat to Luton, but you bounced back in style, and it's not the only time you've done it this season under Xisco.
Yeah, we reacted to a lot of poor run of results, and I think we went 4 wins on the trot, then a loss, 5 wins on the trot, then a loss, then 6 wins on the trot. So yeah, he was always good at not getting too down in the defeats, and he's just a likeable guy. He's a guy that you want to come into work and work really hard for, and I think that showed in our performances.
Yeah. Really quick word on the Norwich City win. I mean, the whole team threw so much at it. Tommy, your job that day, one of the most enjoyable games of the season, wasn't it?
We had some dark days in here, didn't we? No, certainly. Performances and results, you just can't guarantee them. But you say the work rate and the camaraderie and continuity in that team and that group of players, certainly they got what they deserved.
Yeah, Right, on the subject of that game, award number 7 is up now. So this is for individual performance of this season. This award has been voted for across the club's social media channels, and we're delighted to announce that the winner is Tom Cleverley for his performance against Norwich City.
Cleverley trying to keep it alive. This is João Pedro. Looking for Gosling!
And as if by magic, it is in his hands. Congratulations. Listen, you're going to be the first person to say what a great team performance it is. But Tom, you were absolutely everywhere that night. Just take yourself back to it mentally. What was going through your head from the word go?
Yeah, I mean, I'd come off a bit of an injury at that time, and my family will tell you at that point of the season, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was losing sleep, and I just felt like this Norwich game is the key to it all. So I gave my all, and yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting that, but thanks to everyone who voted, and yeah, special mention to Gozzy that night as well, the match winner. He spent a bit of time on the sidelines, and I thought he was fantastic that night as well.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, we've heard there that, you know, you're under pressure, Tom, but Tommy, when you look back on your professional career, it must be quite hard sometimes to channel that in the right way, because I'm sure sometimes it can go the other way. You're losing sleep, you really want to play the best of your ability, but to channel it the way that Tom did that day was so key.
I wish I'd known how you do it, Tom. I didn't channel it in that direction. It made me angry, the more pressure that I got under, and then you set yourself levels that you perhaps can't reach. But to sustain the level of performance that Tom did, certainly on that night, but on many other occasions too, I think he mentions the other players in midfield. They were certainly a huge part of the promotion. The group of players that played in the middle of that pitch and ran games at times. Let's be honest about it. But that Norwich one was really special.
Andy, I'm sure after your heart-to-heart a moment ago, you feel like a proud dad right now, don't you?
Never have to buy a drink again. Let that just sink in. That is wow.
It really was a wow performance, though, wasn't it?
I mean, I know he's very modest and stuff, but you know, he's the engine. He's the engine room. You are. You know, all us fat fans who sit in the stands go, oh, I wish I could run around like he does.
How would you describe your season overall? I know you gave quite a heartfelt interview quite recently, feeling that you owed something to the club, but now it's mission accomplished. How do you reflect on the whole thing? Yeah, it's been a fantastic season for me personally to get the club back to where we need to be, and yeah, I remember speaking to my dad at the end of last season and saying that, listen, you've got to take this as the positives out of getting relegated. You've not played much this season, so it's a chance for you to get back in the team, be one of the key figures, and get your head down and get back on track, and that's what I've done. So very pleased with it. Dan Batman made a good point as well. It seems like whoever's wearing the captain's armband has a sort of extra 5-10%. Would you agree with that? Gives you that extra little something? Well, Nate definitely did. He was magnificent when he took it. But you were too. That's key with our dressing room. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but there's 5, 6, 7 captains in there. So whoever's on there, we've got a team full of leaders. So it's all good. All right, well, congratulations on your award. There we are, in all its glory. Okay, so we've got 2 awards left now. Next up is Players' Player of this season. Before we announce the winner for this one, actually, I suppose you can say this about all the awards. There are so many contenders, but just so many individuals, Tommy, have had brilliant seasons. Yeah, and I think, obviously, that without that, you don't get promoted. But it'd be really difficult. When I was asked a couple of weeks ago to say who do you think you initially who will get Players' Player and who will get Player of the Season, I probably listed 9, 10 people before I narrowed it down to one. In fact, I think I got away with not narrowing it down to one because there were so many outstanding performances over a prolonged period of time. You know,
actually got out of it by talking about the units. When I talk about the back five, including the goalkeeper, and then the three, and then the three up front, really difficult for me to do it. I'm glad nobody pinned me down to do it, because it was such a difficult job, and that's not normal.
No,
Tom
previous years you go, oh, that person's got it nailed on weeks before.
At the most, you'd have 2 or 3 that would have a chance of getting it. This year, I genuinely think you could have had 7, 8, 9.
Would you agree with that, Tom? Do you think that's the feeling in the dressing room as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd certainly have changed my mind a few times if you had to name it at this point in the season. And I think we're a bit unlucky not to be more recognised in the team, the league's team of the year. But yeah, I think, like Tommy, I've managed to narrow it down to 1.
Yes, and we can say now, we are delighted to announce that the Players' Player of the 2020-21 season is Ismaïla Sarr.
Oui, ça fait plaisir d'avoir le trophée. Bah, on ne peut pas gagner le championnat, mais on a quelque chose. Ça fait plaisir, voilà, ça fait du bien. Bah, ça veut dire que je fais un bon travail, mais ça reste encore. Je vais continuer à travailler. Bah, je crois que c'est grâce à l'équipe que j'ai ce trophée. Bah, j'espère qu'on va continuer à travailler. Ouais, ça me fait plaisir de voir les joueurs voter pour moi, parce que on est beaucoup. Bah, tout le monde a voté pour moi, ça fait plaisir. Je remercie tout le monde d'avoir voté pour moi aussi et d'avoir travaillé encore une fois à côté de moi. Merci à toute l'équipe.
So congratulations once more to our Players' Player of the season, Ismaïla Sarr. Tommy, what does it mean to win an award like this, you know, when you've been voted for by your peers?
Yeah, it's probably the best one that you can win as a player, because you know that the dressing room appreciates the work that you've put in, and I certainly think, you know, there's spells in the season where players would change their minds on that one, but when you look back at it over the season, to receive that. I never received a Players' Player, so I've kind of been that popular in the dressing room. But I got the Player of the Year a couple of times. But I would imagine Ismaïla Sarr's smiling.
Yes. He's not had the easiest time, Andy. I know he's super, super talented, but when you look at it on paper, you know, the language barrier, which, you know, is obviously still there, settling into a new country, the pandemic, the team getting relegated. But, you know, he has got stuck in the Championship, certainly in the second half of the season.
Oh, absolutely. And he's blooming fast as well, isn't he? He is fast. I don't know if you noticed that. I mean, I don't want to be an expert, but he's quite fast. Yeah.
What's he like to train with, Tom?
He's first and foremost a great lad. I think that's why he's a real popular member of the team. And yeah, I mean, athletically he's gifted, but
what makes him so well liked? Because we don't always see a lot of him in interviews. So
he's got a real dry sense of humour.
Really?
Even though his English ain't the best, he likes to hammer people now and again, and yeah, he's.
See, I've got a lot of time for that. There's a time and a place for that in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Because it also brings everybody together. People always think that they're going to say something nasty or something out of place, but it's not like that. It's about developing personalities in a dressing room, because not everybody's the same. He's not the same as Tom, or he's not the same as Troy, and I think that integration this season is really evident.
For you as a side, to have that kind of weapon as well in this Watford team, you must go into every game with just that extra level of confidence.
Yeah, not just this year. I mean, in the Premier League, he was a massive threat. He'd give fullbacks torrid nights, and so yeah, really hope we can obviously keep hold of him for as long as we can. And he's a massively important player to our forward play, but also works his socks off as well.
Yeah, listen, we mentioned that we've had so many individuals with brilliant seasons. Kiko Femenia, another one of them. Is it fair to say, Tommy, we probably have the most prolific wing in the Championship between the two of them?
I've said it many, many times about the amount of opportunities to score goals that either Sarr or Kiko has manufactured down the right-hand side, but sometimes their combinations have been outstanding. And I actually think You know, Cisco coming in and changing the formation and put Ismaïla Sarr in a 3 as opposed to wide on the right-hand side, where he was always up against the fullback and he's right close to the touchline. When he's gone to a 3, he finds the gap between the fullback and the centre half. So technically and tactically, I think that change of the system has helped him. Because yes, he still defends like he did at the beginning of the season, but he also knows that it's really his place to go and attack and create opportunities. And we've seen him take shots and hit the ball like he probably wouldn't have done at the start of the season, and maybe in the Premier League. So yeah, I think that relationship down the right-hand side has been a key factor.
Certainly gives you some bragging rights as a fan, doesn't it, Andy?
Yes,
having those two in your squad.
Will he get more? He'll get more time in the Premier League, because obviously in the Championship, as we found out tonight, they're straight into you and hit you hard. So in the Premier League, he'll have more time to really go for it, won't he?
I don't necessarily think he'll get more time. He'll probably get a little bit more respect in the Premier League. However, after what he's done this season, teams will know perhaps more about him than the last time he played in the Premier League. So there'll be a lot more time spent on the training ground trying to work out how to deal with him.
Right, with the time just approaching 9 o'clock here on our final Hive Live of the season, our end of season awards and review show, we are on to our 9th and final award of the evening. So this is the Player of the Season in association with SA Law. Now, historically, this award has always been presented by the family of the late great Graham Taylor. But just because this evening's event is a little bit different, it doesn't mean that there's any reason not to do this the same way tonight. So we are absolutely delighted here on Hive Live that we can be joined live by one of Graham's daughters. So it's a very good evening to Joanne Glover. Hi Jo, nice to see you. How are you?
Hello everybody, I'm very, very well, thank you. Been enjoying listening to you all and bringing back some very fond memories, as you can imagine.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us this evening. Now, I understand it was someone very special and someone who was very close to Graham who presented our winner with his award.
Yeah, my understanding is that was, of course, Sir Elton John. You know, very, very special partnership and relationship there. And I think key, you know, when you've got two people together that can dream big, dreams can absolutely come true. They were very, very special times. And of course, you know, Sir Elton very much at the time was, and still is, you know, his heart was a Watford fan. So I think then to join somebody as talented as my dad, who the dream came true, but obviously with, as Tommy alluded to before, with a fair bit of hard work and commitment, which is how dreams are made.
It's true. I mean, it really was a golden era, wasn't it, Tommy, to have Sir Elton John and Graham come together at the same time. The two of them, they really laid the foundations for the club as we know it today. Yeah,
I think two very, very different, contrasting personalities in the gaffer and Elton, but you know their relationship was so strong that at the time that I was at the club, it was, you know, certainly one of the key factors, and you know, it's lovely to see Joe and all of the times that we had with the gaffer at the club. Yeah, as Elton as chairman, but more when he was around the dressing room and around the players, he was a fan. He would talk about goals and he would talk about games in years gone by, and obviously, you know, the gaffer had let him in the dressing room for 5 minutes before the game, but then once he left, it was serious. Yeah. And then that carried on, and you know, we had some great times.
Joe, what are your standout memories of that time, and you know, your relationship between Graham and Sir Elton?
Well, I think, you know, the two really significant periods. I mean, family and I was 11 when we moved to Watford, my sister 9. So, you know, I've been reminiscing today about two very significant periods. You know, an 8-0 win against Sunderland. You know, an 8-0 win that makes the news. I think we're going back to the 80s there. The Wembley Cup final, and of course the League Cup win against Man United. That Dennis Booth cross and Luther Blissett header there. Many fantastic memories. And you know, the fun times that Dad and Elton had, which I think, you know, came very clearly in the eulogy that Elton wrote for John Motson to read out at Dad's funeral. You know, he described him as a brother. and brothers have ups and downs, but of course I remember most of the ups.
How lucky are we, Andy, to have Graham Taylor and Sir Elton John associated with this club?
Oh, just so incredible, so incredible. I mean, every fan, has such high regard for Graham. It's because when the fans met him, he was like Tommy said. He was just so down to earth. He was, he listened to what you had to say, and you could have a conversation with him. There was no aloofness about the man. He was just top geezer.
And for you, Tom, I mean, we saw some of the footage with Sir Elton when he visited the ground the other day, but both him and Graham, they mean an awful lot to the players in this current squad as well. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Graham's legacy runs right through this club, and I think every football club has legends and people they adore, and Graham Taylor's certainly our one here. Joe, what does this club mean to you and your family? Can you sum it up in words just before we move on to the award?
Yeah, I think, it'll be forever, very much in our hearts, such fond memories. I mean, I left the area when I came up to Nottingham and remained in Nottingham, but still very close connections. My mum still lives in Hertfordshire with my sister, niece and nephew and brother-in-law, and they regularly attend games still. And they're very, very special memories that will always be in our hearts. Well, thank you so much for your time this evening. But before you go, please can you reveal who has won the Player of the Season for the 2020-21 campaign? I absolutely can, and richly deserved to Ismaïla Sarr. Congratulations. Joe, thank you so much. Ismaïla Sarr, a worthy winner, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. Here is Ismaïla Sarr being presented with his award before last Saturday's game by Sir Elton John.
I've got something to say, okay? I'm going to try and... Cher Ismaïla, c'est un grand honneur pour moi de vous remettre le prix de joueur de l'année. Chaque fois que je te vois jouer, je me fais sourire. Sauf quand vous manquez. So, tous nos félicitations. For those of you who didn't know what I mean, saying, great honour for me to present this award to you for the Player of the Year. Every time I watch you play, you make me smile, except when you miss. Okay?
So Player of the Season for 2020-21, Ismaïla Sarr. Tom, having spoke a little bit about Ismaïla earlier, what would he have made of all that? It's quite something, isn't it, getting that award presented by Sir Elton John? Yeah, I mean, as you can see, he's quite an easygoing guy. Nothing seems to faze him whatsoever. Nothing at all, but no, like I said, he's a great guy. I think I seen an interview with him the other day saying how funny he thought Cathcart was, and we all thought that he just looked over at our British corner and thinking, what are them idiots doing? But he actually, he's massively part of it. He's a great member of the team and thoroughly deserved. Yeah, thoroughly deserved indeed, Tommy. And I think it's fair to say, under Xisco, we've just seen something totally different out of Ismaïla Sarr this season. But what is that? What do you think Xisco's unlocked in him?
I think he's been allowed to play with his own personality, and he's given him a little bit more freedom. Having said that, I think he's still continued to defend the way he did at the start of the season. He's just far more free when he goes forward. And like you say, I don't think at the start of the season he would have been taking on shots from there. I think he'd have been looking to square it for somebody to tap it into a net. He's just got more direct, and seems to be more aggressive. For me, the best thing about his improvements this season is that when he gets contact or he feels contact, he keeps going. Because it's so difficult to stop somebody of his pace and with the strength that he's developing to keep attacking. Previously, he just wanted a free kick. Now, he doesn't want to settle for a free kick. He wants to go on, and I love that side of it. And really brave, I think, for the club to keep him when, let's face it, there would have been options to sell at the end of last season. But I'm sure you were a happy chappy, weren't you, to see him in a Watford shirt at the start of this campaign? Absolutely, and I will be when we start next season as well, when he's in a Watford shirt. He ain't for sale. Move on.
Now, the incredible form in the second half of this season has coincided with the arrival of our head coach, Xisco Munoz. Before we get more thoughts on Xisco from the studio and exactly how and why he's been so successful since he arrived in December last year, here's what he means to some of the people who have got to know him best.
He's an humble guy, he's a coach, he's a manager who knows what he wants.
The celebration of Cardiff was unbelievable. In our culture, let's say Spain or Italy, it's quite normal for people to get really passionate, so I think he actually pinned the picture in his office, so that's the team spirit that he wants to see, so he was actually very, very pleased, yeah.
What's he like in the staff games?
Yeah, a lot of quality. Obviously, he doesn't go 100% because he doesn't want to embarrass anyone, but that's sort of the character he is. He's holding back a lot, but yeah, no, he's a great guy.
He is very, very passionate, and he makes you think you've got that extra man in you, and I think that's the most important thing.
I think it was crucial when he come in. The spirits were so low. His personality, the way he managed staff and players, it lifted us.
He's just like a little cheeky chappy, and he's always smiling. Yeah, he's just great around the place. I love him.
His passion, no? His knowledge. He believes in the values to the person. We love the city. We love the fans, the club, all the atmosphere. It's incredible because we are lucky guys. We work in a good club, in our passion, and we want to smile. This is Xisco.
I think the overriding message, Andy, from that is that he just seems to connect on a personal level with everyone that he comes into contact with. I mean, even though the fans wouldn't have necessarily seen him or met him in person, do you think there is that connection still there?
Absolutely. His connection with the fans via Twitter and all the usual media outlets is brilliant, and us fans love that. I cannot wait for him to meet us lot, you know, next season, because you know he won't believe the noise and the hero's welcome he gets. I have got one question to ask, if I may. Yeah. Not necessarily about him, but who's the bloke who whistles a lot? Who's the one who whistles?
I'm not sure. What do you mean, in the dugout?
Yeah, in the dugout. There's one bloke who whistles like he's like getting the sheepdogs. I don't know who it is, but he's amazing. Have you not
it
seen
obviously works.
Have you not seen
whatever
the
it
video?
means.
That's your TV.
No, is it? Is it?
It's the budgie in the background.
Well, I've only just finished paying for it from Rumbelows, so he may have a point.
On a serious note, Tommy, Xisco told us after Millwall about the huge personal sacrifice that he has had to make this season, you know, being separated from his family, but he's got on with it.
Yeah, I think that makes, you know, the achievement even bigger for Xisco. We all love spending time with our families. For him to forfeit that time, to come to try and get Watford promoted, and then to eventually achieve it is absolutely fantastic. And I'm even more delighted for him after hearing that that's what they had to do.
Listen, many will be speculating about whether he's going to be the man to lead us next season. I can say we have it on good authority that he will be leading the team next season into the Premier League campaign, which I think, Andy Collins, you're very happy about, judging by the smile on that
I can't
face.
whistle, but you know him.
Right, we are nearing the end of the show, so thank you very much for joining us tonight on our final Hive Live of the season, the end of season awards show. It's time now to bring down the curtain on what has been a very, very special season for us all. It is time now to hear from Sir Elton John, who recorded this very special interview for you, the fans.
Sir Elton, how proud of you are you of the club's achievement, given everything you've seen over the years here?
Well, I've seen a lot of football at this club. Ever since I was 5 years old, when we played in blue, and there were two rickety old stands. But this year, I mean, to go down last year, we didn't really deserve to go down. We had a bit of an unlucky run at the end of the season. But to come straight back up again in this division, I think is really very, very hard. I mean, we always have the squad of players, but it's a different ballgame, the Championship, to the Premier League. Xisco came in and changed the formation of the way we play, which suits us much better. And, you know, the players have been magnificent. I mean, the home form, which is usually our weak spot, has been tremendous. And they say COVID, that it's never been the same without the crowds, but we haven't had any crowds, and the players pulled themselves together and I think they've done magnificently. And it's a nightmare watching the results every week because there's some good teams, as everyone knows, in the division. Everyone wants to get out of the division and go back into the Premier League, and we've done it.
Have you managed to watch many games live?
I have. Midweek and Saturdays, I dread them because usually we've got a game in the midweek and we've got a game on Saturday or Sunday or Friday. And it's, what can I say? It's in my heart and my soul. You can't get rid of it. My passion with this club has never died, and I'm so proud of this club this season. It's very, very, it's an amazing achievement. And I know at one point we looked as if we were going to just qualify it with the playoffs, and then we had this incredible run. And, you know, we sealed it with a win against Millwall. And what can I say? I'm delighted. I'm so happy.
You said before how proud you are of the work that you did with Graham, with Eddie Plumley, with Anne Swanson to make the club what it is. Does it give you a sense of pride walking in here now with Gino and Scott taking care?
It's a whole different club. I mean, you come in, this is a proper Premiership club. But, you know, I remember just the old dressing rooms with the Greyhound track. This isn't. The Potts has done an incredible job. Scott's been amazing. I talk to him at least 2 or 3 times a week, which he probably hates, especially when we lose. But it's when I first came in here as vice president, and we had the 2 stands and the dog track. To see us now, we took it on an amazing journey. We've never gone down from the Championship. We've always either been in the First Division, Premier League, or the Championship, or the First Division. And I'm so proud of that, considering where we came from, what this club was, what it means to the community, how we've done that, and that was Graham's, you know, passion. And we carried that on during COVID with the hospital next door. So it's been an amazing trip, and you know, I'm sitting here today. I don't have to worry about the result, but I always do. And I hope we win, because it's always good if you win at the last game of the season. It gives you momentum for the first game of next season. Yeah.
Just finally, a message to the supporters who had to follow from home but are really hoping to come back next year.
Well, the supporters of this club have always been in my heart. You know, I love them dearly, and it must have been so frustrating for them to watch from afar, as it has been for every football supporter this year. The players have really done brilliantly at home without this home support, and I think next year when we have the home support, they'll do even better. And I'm sure I'm dying to come back next year with the fans in the ground and the atmosphere. Come on, you Orns, and see all the flags, the scarves. Yeah, who wouldn't want to see that? We all miss it so much. We all miss the crowds. We miss going to the movies. We miss going to rock concerts. We going to the theatre, or just going out for a meal. We're all human. We miss that contact.
Thank you very much for talking to us today.
Well, it's great to hear there. Sir Elton, so connected to the club that, you know, he laid the foundations with him and Graham. Tom, did you manage to get a chat with him the other day?
Yeah, I did, yeah, and it's nice to see how passionate he is about his football. He knew everything about the Championship season, the ins and outs of every team. He gave us a bit of stick for how we were playing it earlier in the season. But
what do you say to that when it's Sir Elton John?
He was spot on, to be honest. But, yeah, I just loved how passionate he was about his football and about his club.
And for you, Andy, I think your worlds of showbiz stardom have overlapped. Do you know Sir Elton?
Well, when I say I know him, you know, when he did the concert, he waved at me, I fainted, we had a connection.
For you, Tommy?
He was just, at the time that he was involved in the football club when I was here, he was just so supportive all of the time, and you can understand that he's a Watford supporter, and he's just as thrilled as every other Watford supporter. Delighted that he's been watching Hive live.
Yes.
If I'd known, we could have shoehorned some of his song titles into the commentary.
Is he watching? I'm going to faint again. Hold on. This is going to be really awkward.
You know, not when you're on. He said he's not watching.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
I think you said there as well. You know, he speaks to Scott multiple times a week. You know, when Scott Duxbury came in here explaining about the pressures, the stress he was under. Can you imagine having a mega star like Elton John ringing you every 5 minutes? I mean, yeah, it's quite something, isn't it? You get calls from Troy, actually. I think my mum's the only person that rings me after a Watford game. What about you, Andy? Do you pick up the phone and let you stress out?
Well, me and Lloydie Doyley have a couple of phone calls every now and again. My hero, he's my legend. No, me and Lloydie like that. That's about it.
Right, well, we are coming towards the end of the show, so final word for you, Tom. I've said this to all the other players that have been in here. You've got the fans' attention here on Hive Live, our final show of the season. Is there anything you'd like to say before they see you again in the stadium?
Just congratulations to everyone associated with the football club. I think no matter how big or small your contribution's been to our effort this year, we couldn't have done it without every single person. And yeah, can't wait to have the fans back in the Premier League. We've missed them, and glad we got the job done for you.
Yes, congratulations to you. That does bring us to the end of the 2020-21 season, which has ended in our promotion back to the Premier League. So the final thing to say now is thank you to everyone that has been watching us here on Hive Live. It's been great to be able to connect with you, albeit virtually, but still to be able to bring the Watford family together on a match day. It's been a privilege for all of us. So thank you to all our guests tonight. We've had William Troost-Ekong, Troy Deeney, Dan Backman, Tom Cleverley here with us now. Thank you very much, Andy Collins, Tommy Mooney. Also like to extend thanks to the production team that have worked so hard to bring Hive Live to you this season. I think it's fair to say it's really been a team effort from everyone here at Watford Football Club this season. So enjoy your summers. We look forward to seeing you back here at the home of the Hornets, where Premier League football awaits. So we'll see you soon. Take care.